All right, filmmakers, we're going to jump into making some motion graphics here. And to start off with, we're going to be inside of After Effects. We're going to make a new composition. So go up to Composition and New. You may have already done this before to get started on your project. I'm going to make a 1080p project. I would say for the rendering purposes that you should do something around HDTV 720, because that's going to make things a bit easier. I'll make that size project so it fits better with the project that you're working on. Alright, so our setup here is on the left side we have a project area. That's where our files get imported to. At the bottom we have a timeline area. This is where we're going to do a lot of work. In the center we have a stage, much like in Flash. Off to the right, we have our effects and presets. We'll be going to those pretty often as well. So to start off with, we have our composition. I'm going to just dump in solid. So I'm going to go to Layer, New, and Solid. And this dialog comes up. I'm going to do something that has a nice color to it. Let's see, maybe kind of a sky blue. And click OK. Now I've also got to go get my picture that we took earlier. So I can right click in here and go Import and File. I can also go to File, Import, and File. And on the desktop I have a picture. Football.jpg, and I can drag it onto here or I can drag it down to here. Doesn't really matter which one. I'm going to drag it, bring it up so it's on top here. And I'm going to find Keylight by typing in K-E-Y-L-I-G. Oh, there it is. Keylight, and I'm going to drag that onto the picture right here. Now for screen color, I'm going to click on the eyedropper, click on here, and for my picture it works great. Sometimes you have to adjust the gain and balance and some other options here. Now make sure that you have a drawing of what you want on there. I know that from talking there's like statistics, there's abilities, there's name, there's all sorts of stuff. And so I'm going to make different windows that we can have animate in here that'll have all that information. So I'm actually going to go back to the project and make each of these windows separately. So I'm going to go to Composition, New Composition, and I'm actually going to make pixel perfect, whatever size I want to do. So if I want a square one, I would make a 720 by 720 pixel composition here. And this will be maybe our statistics. And the background color can be black. So I'm going to fill this with a solid. So I'm going to go to Layer, New, Solid, and whatever color that this window is going to be, that's the color solid I'm going to make. For my choice, I'm going to go with kind of another bluish color for the background. And then I'm going to type in some text on here about the different maybe statistics that we have going on here. So I go up to the top, I click on the horizontal type tool. It looks like a big giant T. And I'm going to type in the different stats. So maybe height. And I'm noticing that it wants to center the text. So if I go off to the right side, I have some like character things here. And I'm going to look for centering. And it doesn't look like I have that there. So I'm going to go to Window and go to Paragraph. There it is. So it looks like it's centering my text, and I want to left justify the text. It's going to make my life a little bit easier. I'm also not a fan of this yellow text here. So I'm going to highlight that using the text tool. And I'm going to go ahead and make it black over on the right side in the character palette. Okay? I'm going to do weight, colon, I'm going to do, let's see, height, weight, blood type, and we'll do strength, stamina, intelligence, luck, all the good ones. Okay, so here we have some statistics here, and to represent how good he is in each of these areas, I'm going to make another, I'm going to type in some of the answers here. So 5'10", weighs 185 pounds, his blood type O negative, and then we'll do some bars. To make those bars, I'm going to go to Layer, New, Solid, and I'm going to make the height like 20 and the width like 200, and I'm going to make these like a reddish color. And on these bars that I make, I'm going to just set them there, and then I'm going to duplicate them, and I'm going to put a different length bar at each of these. So I'm going to do Control D on the keyboard, or I can go to Edit and Duplicate, and then it gives me a chance to stretch another one out. Control D or Edit Duplicate on there. And we'll do one more. All right. Now, as best I can, I want to line these up so they all line up on the right edge here evenly. Now, the red on the blue, that's not a great look. So let's say I wanted to change these to white or something like that. To do that, I could go to Layer, Solid Settings, click in the color area, and that would allow me to change any of these. So Layer, Solid Settings, change it from red to white. And it's weird because you click on New, and you're not really making a new solid. Well, you're changing it to be a new one, but it's not like brand new solid. I mean, you already put it in there. Okay, so here is our menu. And if I wanted to, I could animate this using the Character Effects and Presets tab here. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to exit out this, Animation Presets. I'm going to go to Text. I'm going to go to Animate In. And I'm going to do Typewriter. You're free to choose any of these other ones to see what you'd like. I'm going to bring that here. And what happens over time is it automatically animates all of that in there. If I click on this layer and type U on the keyboard, it'll show me how long it takes it to type in the timeline here. And these diamonds represent the amount of time it takes it to animate. So this diamond represents the end, and then this diamond represents the beginning of that animation. I want to do some animation on these bars as well. So I'm going to open it up, go to Transform, and I'm going to have the scale. I'm going to click this stopwatch here. Clicking that stopwatch means I am going to animate that scale. So I'm going to click it because that's the size I want it to be. I'm going to move that diamond forward a little bit. And I'm going to have it start at 0. So it's going to grow like that. for all of these. Okay, go to the next white solid, transform, scale, move it down a little bit, start it off at 0, go to the next white solid, transform, scale, move the diamond over a little bit, start it off at 0, go to the next white solid, go to transform, click on scale, move the diamond over a little bit, start it off at 0. And so now we have something that looks like this. It types in, and all those bars kind of size up to show what that person has. Now that looks pretty cool. I'm going to drop that into my main composition. So on the timeline here, I'm going to click on Comp 1, which is my main composition. And I'm going to take the statistics composition that I made earlier, I'm going to drop it over here off to the right. You see all that information comes in. Now this is entirely too big, so I'm going to grab this box here, size it down so it's a little bit more manageable. And then I'm going to do some fun stuff. So I'm going to change statistics here, and I'm going to click on the 3D box here, and I'm going to rotate it a little bit. I can either rotate it by clicking on this icon, the rotation tool up at the top, or I can go into statistics, go into transform, and actually rotate on the X and Y axis, whichever I'd like to do. Now as that appears, that's pretty cool, but what about the actual blue square? I'd like that to animate in as well. Well, I'm going to do that too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it come in from the right side and then just kind of sit there. So I'm going to click the stopwatch for position. I'm going to scooch that diamond down a little bit. And I'm going to take this guy and move him off to the right. And now it's going to look something like this. It slides in, it types in, it grows those bars. That's pretty sweet looking. Now let's say I wanted to have everything move together like a camera's like zooming in or something like that. Okay, I can do that. I can go to Layer, New, Camera, and click OK. Now with this camera, you can also transform things where you can change the position, the orientation, and the rotation. Now only 3D objects work when you have a camera, because cameras only see things in 3D. And if you notice, the football player didn't do anything because he's not 3D. So I'm going to make him 3D also. But I'm going to do another thing. Layer, New, Null Object. I'm going to make that null object 3D. And then I'm going to go to Layer, New, Camera. And I'm going to parent the camera to the null object. So when I change the position of that null object, the camera kind of looks left and right. It's following the null object, but it makes it a lot easier to animate because I'm just controlling this thing. And then I can also use position X, Y, and Z to kind of move in. I could use rotation as it moves in as well. So I would animate these things when I want to zoom in or out or move the camera while it's moving. So for instance, I could have it slowly turn in as that comes in and all the things animate together. That's kind of a neat effect. And then once we get there, we can do the position and zoom past. And there's your starting animation.